There was a time when Nas and Cameron were at odds and were going back and forth with diss song versus diss song. This is around the time of 2001, 2002, around the Stillmatic time when the infamous Nas and Jay-Z beef was going down. Now, since then, a decade later, about 2 years ago, 2014, Nas and Cameron were on a plane together and took a picture together. Now, they kind of put the beef to rest. Not saying they're going to be best friends and do songs together, but they did squash an old beef. But this beef all started around 2001 when Ether was out, Takeover was out, Jay-Z and Nas were going through it. And Nas was set to perform and headline Hot 97 Summer Jam, which is the biggest concert in New York City. And the rumor, he wanted to lynch a doll that looked like Jay-Z on stage. He wanted to do something really crazy. And then Hot 97 shut that down. They said, "Hey, this is too much. We can't have this." So basically, Nas freaked out and canceled this concert. And he went over to the rival station to Hot 97, which was Power 105 at the time. Power 105 had just started. They were playing like a lot of classic jams. They were getting their programming together, and it was a threat to Hot 97 because Hot 97 was the top hip-hop station in New York City. They had no competition at the time. So basically, Nas went over, did an interview with Power 105, which was big for them. It co-signed them and kind of like brought them into the game a little bit more. So he went over there and just went off on everybody. Now Nas around this time felt like everybody was against him. He was at odds with people he grew up with, Prodigy, Havoc, Cormega, Nature, everybody in the firm. He was at odds with them. He was kind of on his own. That's why he kind of lashed out at Jay with Ether, and which in turn he thought his career was over. Because I remember people talking about this. He thought his career was over. That's why he lashed out at everybody with the Ether. And on that whole album, he lashed out at Prodigy, a bunch of other people. And really, this rebirthed his career. That whole feud with Jay-Z rebirthed his career. But anyways, he goes to Power 105. And one of the people he disses is Cameron.
One mic, my people. You know what I'm saying? Let's get real and be creative. I buy these people albums. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't talking about nothing from Cam to everybody. I mean, I like Cam and everything. He's a good lyricist. But the album's whack, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all brothers got to start rapping about something that's real, man. You know what I'm saying? My man Nori, I love you, Nori. Step your rap game up, man.
Cameron had just come out on Rockefeller Records. He had just done his deal with Rockefeller Records and released his records, Come Home With Me. And it was that was a fire album. And think about it. Jay-Z's Rockefeller. So Nas just felt Cameron, who he was once his friend, is at odds with him because he's on the opposing team. So I'm going to diss everybody over there. So he said, Cameron, your verses are hot, but your album's whack, B. Basically just going off on everybody. And of course Cameron was going to retaliate to that. But, Nas felt alone, and he was just dissing everybody at this time. He was going crazy. He even dissed Noriega, another friend that he felt like he was at odds with because I think he was doing some business with Rockefeller. And mind you, Dame Dash saved Cameron. He got him out of his deal with Un Rivera, who was Biggie's man. They had started a label, but then Biggie died, and then he was stuck in a bad deal with Un Rivera and Sony, I think, at the time. So he got him out of that and brought him over to Rockefeller, and Cameron had instant success over there with Oh Boy. So basically, Cameron was going to retaliate, but before he could retaliate, Bravehearts, which is Nas's crew, and Dipset, which is Cameron's crew, they went through with disses. Jula Santana and Jim Jones came out with diss records, talking about they're going to slap his kufi off because Nas used to wear a kufi. They're calling the kufi slappers. Jim Jones made a few disses. He made like 2 or 3 disses. I'll link them all below. Then the Diplomats dissed him on like I Really Mean It. There was some thing at the end of that where they did a whole thing about Nas and it was pretty crazy. And then also Bravehearts came back, and they were dissing Joel Santana. They were saying, "I will kill Santana with a fucking clap. I will so clap his head like this." Smacks his hands together into a sandwich, like, you know what I'm saying. And Cameron finally stepped in. He did a crazy diss track over "Hate Me Now," and then he also took to the radio and just went off on Nas.
Talk about because they not even built like me. A lot of faggots talking about us. We too blessed to be stressed, man. Y'all crabs, y'all koofy cake wearing, koofy. Young man, I don't even got to talk about these because they not even built like me. You understand? I be seeing these clowns and they be all on my joint. You understand what I'm saying? Like yo, you corny, dude. And my album is hot. Talking about my album is whack. Album, man, Illmac to still maggot. You still a faggot and you whack. Yo, word up, like, yo, you haven't made a hot album since, homeboy. Everybody progressed since him. AZ, his album is hot. Foxy is banging. Nature is banging. What are you doing? Music don't matter. After I do a song dissing me, it's gonna give me amp up. Never said nothing about homeboy, even though my whole crew was going through it with him. You know, I came in the middle. I said I'm gonna fall back. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna fall back because I don't want to get involved, because that would be like I'm just coming there shooting my gun for nothing. You understand? Like,
and basically, like, he was like, where did this come from? I had just seen Nas right before he dissed me. We had the same lawyer. He didn't understand where this was coming from. So basically, this all ended around, it didn't like come to an end. It just cooled off. And when Nas released the Godson album at the end of 2003, they did like one final thing at Cam. "You got a house in Virginia. The only way you sicker than us getting bagged with a 22. Now you's a ridiculous fuck. No need for the gunplay. It's okay, cause you dying anyway. House in Virginia, HIV." Saying like Cameron has HIV. Basically, this beef went on for like another decade. It didn't like, they would just take small shots at each other, but the beef had like, the heat of the beef was like 02, 03, 04 mixtape game, you know, but they stopped like dissing each other after that. I think Jay-Z and Nas, when they got cool again, like 05, 06, they called Cameron a snitch in some interview on MTV or something. But, you know, basically this was over, and then eventually they saw each other on a plane 2 years ago and kind of squashed it, because, like, you know, as you get older, you put things in perspective. But this was an entertaining beef. I'm not gonna lie, it was really entertaining. And you know, it was just funny, because the way Dipset disses people it's hilarious. The way, you know, even though you're gonna, you know, we know Nas is a better lyricist than everybody. He's like one of the greatest. He has like a God-given gift. But it was just funny to hear the smack talk. It was really it wasn't even the bars that Dipset was coming with. It was the shit they would talk at the end of the record. It was just hilarious. You know, Koofy slapper, da 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 da. They were just talking about so much stuff. You know, mind you, Nas was getting it from all angles. Jay-Z, Prodigy, Havoc, Dipset, you know, Core Mega. Everybody was dissing this guy. And Nas stood up against everybody, and it kind of rebirthed his career, honestly, because he had just released... See, Nas's career was kind of in shambles when he came out with Stillmatic, because he had dropped Illmatic, fire, then he dropped It Was Written, amazing, then he dropped I Am, which was a little disappointing, then he dropped Nostradamus, which was like, eh. And around this time, around like 96 time, he also dropped The Firm, which flopped. Even though it was a good album, it flopped. Then Stillmatic came out, and it was like, okay, we're back to it. Nas is back. And he gave us a couple albums after that were really good. And, you know, you always get classic Nas now. Even though he doesn't sell crazy numbers now, Nas is still Nas. You know, he's one of the best lyricists. He lost it for a few years, but hey, you think about it. Illmatic, It Was Written, very hard to compare anything. I mean, his albums were still better than a lot of people's. I Am and Nostradamus were still better than a lot of people's, but compared to his first two, it was like, what's going on here? You know, we just got 2 fire albums, and now what's going on? Anyways, what do you guys think about this beef? Let me know.